but we do have the game. We did not get loading bugs. Haha, you thought. We're on a 10 city here for this match. Vodible.
That we are, and we don't have a loading bug because it does not exist anymore as far as we are aware. It can't hurt you anymore is what we like to talk about. And Era getting banned after the recent buff makes a lot of sense because that speed makes you be like Sonic.
I do wonder as well if that might be a specific ban for one reset hooks as well for what they performed in the last game. Of course, it was on stream, but yeah, that speed boost from the last buff has been relatively significant as well. And we see Erasmus on Bells, and I wonder, oh boy, I wonder, Erasmus on the other side, who could it be? I bet it's probably Lyarri, and if she performs the same way she did last game, I've still got some confidence. Estelle as well coming in. FINII, for the first time that I have personally been on the call for a FINII here in, I guess, professional level play is what I would consider this, as well as the Kai rounding out, presumably in the net on the side of Mochi Melody. But hey, you know, I've seen some crazy things, but it is going to be Yeesh in the net, and of course Yeesh, the one who likes to move forward. That's a pretty, I would say, you know, kind of lean into that playstyle type of pick.
Makes a lot of sense with how things have been going so far. And we do have Reverberation, and I think that was specialized training on the early awakenings for these two teams. Didn't have a glance at exactly who took what, but we can look after the next goal on how things went down there. And Vaughn's been grinding FINII after playing them for the first time last Primetime Tuesday, I think it was, in a competitive tournament. So we'll see any of the FINII mechanics that come out from them during this matchup.
We'll have to see. That gravity well can certainly cause a lot of havoc in front of the net for the opposition. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. Misdirection as well, you know, can be used to get some snipes from across the map. And there it is, gravity well. Strike shot comes out into the barrage, and you can see it's always a little bit of uncertainty when that gravity well comes out. Oh my goodness, specialized training definitely on YAL. And that's a beautiful counter core flip from Hook. Resets as well. The barrage doesn't quite come out in time, and it's an open barrier on either end.
Great counter core flip as you're mentioning. What I'm surprised here is that in this first couple of minutes, going into OT, we hadn't seen a single KO, but there we go. Finally, the core goes forward. Bells are just biding their time for that to go in, and specialized training on Bells, and you already lose. Reverberation on Vaughn, and Hook resets. I mean, the cooldown helps a little bit too, and the extra stagger, so that FINII is not just going to be gapped every time that they get tackled by the other side.
How much is true, and especially what we saw from Lyarri the last match. I keep going to the last match. It's crazy how when you see a team, you know, once before, it kind of, anyway. Yeah, it's crazy how that happens. You definitely don't want to leave yourself vulnerable to that, but of course, you know, FINII with the 50% damage buff as well. We've seen a couple of times. Bells taking off the side. That's a nice little play there from Lyarri and Yeesh in tandem there, but we'll see if they can capitalize on the advantage now as YAL starts to push upfield. I mean, Yeesh, it feels like that they're trying to replicate YAL style a little bit, because that is the one player I've always seen moving upfield as Kai.
Every time they're feeling confident on the arena, they move up and make it so there's just a third man on forward, and it's that much more difficult to deal with, as Bells is difficult to deal with themselves with the bounces off both sides on the other end. And Mochi Melody, well, they're playing a sad tune now as they're down 2-0.
Maybe, but we'll see. I mean, it's not for lack of trying. What in the... Okay, all right, yep, we are already staggered. They have to concede the shield barrier as a result because they lost all of their presence on the bottom side. I mean, Lyarri had to leave. The misdirection almost gets them. The gravity well, pushing them into the corner as well. Lyarri is getting tossed around at this point. I don't know how in the world she's still on the map.
Well, we see Bells go off the map instead, and
Yeesh? The Giga Blast.
I mean, yeah, but oof, positioning. That's all I got to say on that one. S.A.D.B.O.I.S now taking that first one here. Set number one. We were talking about it going into this, like, yeah, it'll likely be a 3-0, because that's what the S.A.D.B.O.I.S difference is. But who knows when FINII's in the equation, how things will go there. Twin Drive, Rapid Fire, Monumentalist, a lot of options on the board for these teams. But Rapid Fire, the first one, taken up by YL.
Big fish for Estelle. Can't say I'm disappointed in that. Heavy. Erasmus, Bells. It's going to take something eventually. It will be Chrono Boost, actually. Necessarily, I feel like that's not a bad pick. And Tempo Swing instead of, or excuse me, Callus instead of Tempo Swing, I think takes me a little bit of back there for Lyarri. But I suppose a little bit of extra energy is never hurt, especially when you are constantly getting hurt. So, I would overall say that draft was well, you know, I'm not the smartest man, so I'm just going to ignore that. That's a nice death touch there from B.O.I.S, but they couldn't quite convert that one into a goal. Lyarri going to try and replicate that performance, and will actually pick up the shield there on the bottom.
It's crazy how quick the sheer barriers go down on Otten City. I mean, we saw two completely different Otten City games earlier today. One that went to set 5 and was a defensive masterclass, and this one so far pretty one-sided after the Giga Blast comes out and sends the Estelle hacking. B.O.I.S is waiting for their angle to strike, and Vaughn helping out a little bit with that gravity well.
Yeah, you can see B.O.I.S moving downfield as the Rasmus. I mean, Yeesh is throwing out Giga Blast, throws out the strike shot, throws out the barrage. I mean, it's the kitchen sink for Yeesh. Because when you're playing a 2v1 like that against the S.A.D.B.O.I.S, you know that your time is short. It's not going to work out so well. Gravity well causing a little bit of chaos there. Alongside, sorry, I'm not even gonna pretend. What is FINII's secondary called? Yeah, that one. That Lyarri just got hit by, the one that does the damage, but I don't even know what that's called.
You know, I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I can't remember myself. FINII's such a new striker, and you rarely see it in competitive. That it's like, yeah, it's the one that does 30% extra damage if anyone hits them if they are hit by that secondary. So,
which is pretty strong.
Doesn't do too much damage itself.
Ooh, nice shot there from Yeesh. Uses the core flips to get that one in on the top side. A little bit of an angle down into the middle. But yeah, we have seen that as well. That particular ability that we were just referencing used because
double take. That's what it's
double
called.
Take. It's an on-location cast. It casts very quickly at that. So after a short delay, you know, it's a lot of zone control alongside the gravity well, and we see it coming to an effect there. B.O.I.S can't quite push that one through. They had to use the whiplash early on in that little fight. And that touch there from Lyarri. Barrage is down for YAL, but they got the rapid fire, and they're able to stave this one off.
Lyarri just trying to do everything they can, and they're almost getting KO'd off the end with all that extra damage. But B.O.I.S with the energy burst, baiting out the cooldowns from Yeesh, and that was inevitable for that one to go through. S.A.D.B.O.I.S now 1 point away to go 2-0 up and make it that much more difficult for Mochi Melody to sing a winning tune.
I think this isn't necessarily a surprise for not a long-time viewers. We talked about the odds of this one going into him, but B.O.I.S has truly been a force to be reckoned with right about now. The misdirection out of the gravity well, and then YL comes in with the barrage and takes out Lyarri. And it has just been a night and day performance here. The comparison, I would say directly, I mean, B.O.I.S has been doing a fantastic job on Rasmus. We talked about the phenomenal zone control that we saw even in the last game, but this has been on another level as YEL will be forced to concede that shield barrier on the top side there. But I don't think they're particularly perturbed about this one right about now because they've just been so good. B.O.I.S with the 10th touch off the top again, trying to misdirect. And speaking of, FINII off the field.
You know what I'm speaking of? My sushi has arrived at the door, so take it away, Squidd, for a sec.
Let's go grab that. Oh, and that's gonna... Is that... No, the strike shot from Yeesh. They have a core flip available as well. Death touch from Lyarri. Goes across the field. Misdirection almost actually picks up the KO there. Gravity will just stuff the core flip. Oh my god. That's brutal. Gravity well stuffs the energy burst from Yeesh. It goes back the other way and then into the net. I feel like we did a little bit of like testing when FINII first came out to see if you could core flip through a gravity well. I thought you could, but maybe that has changed since then. I could be wrong. But either way, it's going to be YAL first up on the draft again and goes with Orb Dancer. Can't say I'm surprised. Very aggressive player here on a 10 city. There are plenty of orbs to go around. Deadeye on the other end for Yeesh. Giga Blast becomes a little bit stronger. Built different pipe to deny the Rasmus. Stacks on stacks. Not a bad pick, though. I feel like everybody's getting a little bit of what they want. And yeah, Gravity Well for CC absolutely annihilates. I mean, we even saw Vaughn using misdirection off of the Gravity Well in order to catch their opponent by surprise. So yeah, welcome back, Vodible. It was a bit of an interesting draft. I feel like everybody got a little piece of what they wanted. But I can't remember what it was.
So did I.
Oh yeah, yeah. Did you? You got a little bit of seafood there. You're just gonna disrespect me like that? Oh my God! How did you get that away?
Oh, you just got that away by the power of friendship, and that's all that was necessary. Unfortunately, it failed them at the end, and B.O.I.S gets that strike with the pendulum swing to make it 2 away for them to get the 3-0 in this round 4 matchup.
Yeah, YAL picked up Orb Dancer, which you know, here on a 10 city,
oh, man.
with YAL being a potentially phenomenally aggressive goaltender. I think that kind of like speaks volumes to the odds. Lyarri here at a 2-level disadvantage in comparison to Vaughn and YAL as well. things aren't going well. Somebody just did a burnout outside my apartment. Yeah,
I think I heard that too.
Well, yeah, no, people are having a great time.
Yeah, they're having a great time out here. I'm having a great time too. Hopefully Stream's having a good time. Stream's, you know what? Twitch chat's kind of being weird, but we are at 69 viewers, so it's kind of nice.
That's, yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I see that. To pay off the top bells. It's actually not also having a bit of a tough time. Is this going to be a nope, okay, misses with the piercing shot, of course. Bells has the chrono boost as well, so using that whiplash to great effect to reposition, going off the bottom. Giga Blast does not actually find the KO. I don't know how, especially with specialized training. Giga Blast feels like it should have been a guaranteed kill. The death touch from Lyarri will finally do it. Piercing shot from Hook resets. Core flip into Lyarri. Go to S.A.D.B.O.I.S using a core flip, but they missed the timing. Wow. And now they've got to pretty much fully reset on this one and start their attack fresh.
Oh god, Bell's just using that speed as much as they can after they picked up that chrono burst boost earlier. It makes it so that they can get around the arena as quickly as they want. But we're seeing the core go all sorts of directions. It's Sepp into the back of the S.A.D.B.O.I.S net, and that's exactly where it needs to go for Mochi Melody. Lyarri, even with the perfect timing, can't break past the YAL defense that has stood true all but 2 times, 2, I guess, individual series times throughout Primetime and Tuesday history, and we're at number 8 currently.
Yeah, YL, oh, actually gonna be defeated here, Lyarri. Goes in with the whiplash, dribble off the side, and then strike into the net, perhaps. Maybe a little bit unexpected for YouAlreadyLose. Perhaps they took their hand off the mouse because they were tired of playing for that round. But either way, it's tied. I'm going to assume it was just a little bit of mistime here. YL would not be M like that. Nice save off of the energy burst. Really no surprises. Yeesh not able to defend that one. Bell's going right for the throat with that core flip. Can't say I don't like the gusto, the confidence going for that one so fast.
A lot of confidence, a lot of gusto, and a lot of goals from the end of S.A.D.B.O.I.S. Bell's leading the charge, Vaughn supporting them, and YouAlreadyLose just being that third person that can move up as much as they want to pressure everyone on Mochi Melody. The Giga Blast will help a lot there from Yeesh. Perfect positioning, perfect shot, and Lyarri staggered fully. Just has to avoid YouAlreadyLose and couldn't avoid the gravity well for long, as now it's evened up between these two, and all the advantages we saw from Mochi Melody gone by the wayside. Just a matter of fact for S.A.D.B.O.I.S to potentially get this one in.
Look at YAL, just absolute speed demon with that Orb Dancer upfield. And had a very significant presence there for a moment. Lyarri actually pulls the shield barrier on the other side, though. And Yeesh is trying to time it correctly, and I don't think there's really much of an opportunity to do so. Bells with the whiplash puts it away, and that's going to be the game. 3-0 for what I thought was great.
That is the game, and here's my sushi.
There's the sushi. Congratulations, Vodible Sushi, for the on-stream feature. Gets a shout-out. Post in chat.
Whoever makes a Vodible Sushi name for the next Primetime Tuesday, I'm gonna gift you a sub.
Vodible Sushi. That should be a team name. It's just Vodible Sushi for no particular reason.
Exactly.
Bell's to me a standout player here. Vaughn doing the most damage actually by quite a margin at that though. I mean almost 1.5 times. Quick math. Almost 1.5 times what Bells was doing. Not quite, but obviously if you have 10,000, yeah. Anyway, you get the idea. Vaughn did a lot of damage and was quite a significant factor upfield. I feel like it was a perfect example of how FINII can really throw a wrench in the gears necessarily. And Vaughn, right after you left, we actually saw Vaughn come in with an incredible play. Yeesh pops a core flip in a, I think it was a 2v3, 1v3 situation perhaps. I think it was 2v3, but either way. Popped the core flip, got stuck by a gravity well. Instantly, it kind of went back the other way and then into the net. So it was a great example of how FINII can be used as a trickster. Go figure. That is literally part of her like striker title. Is the trick? I don't remember what the full thing is, but she's a trickster. I know that much at least. So
she likes to go and cause hijinks, and that's what we have seen. High T hijinks specifically with the most recent patch that came out, but. It's nice to see FINII win for once, because every time we've had FINII on stream so far, they have lost. And it's usually the FINII's fault. So
it's usually the FINII's fault, he says. Wow, no mercy.
Is. No, seriously.
No mercy.
Because if they chose a different striker every time we've seen FINII on stream and it hasn't worked out, it would have gone better for that team. Okay. So I think with the recent patch with the buff that came out for, I think it was the secondary and the some other abilities there too, not just to make it be more powerful, but just make it do a bit more and be more viable of a striker. People are now spending more time to lab out this character and say, oh, you could actually do some cool stuff with it.
Yes, and also, you know, as a counterpoint to that, a bit of a rebuttal, right? You know, Zentaro, obviously, monster in the meta right now, complete menace.
Wasn't enough of a nerf.
Was not necessarily the most picked. I mean, everyone was on the Juliet train for the longest time, and then people started to have to warm up to Zentaro. I was like, wait a minute, this guy's actually kind of busted. And so that could just be the same kind of boat that FINII is in. I doubt it, but it could be. All right, so just give it some time, okay? Vaughn, I feel like may also be a little bit of an outlier to represent the FINII player base because, you know, it's Vaughn, you know, playing as a part of S.A.D.B.O.I.S. I feel like there was always going to be something of a
whatever striker they take is going to do pretty decent.
Individual skill difference, especially when you have Bells playing Rasmus, who is, you know, far and away a you know, a core build. I would say striker.
Core?
Kind of. Me when the core is core. I don't know. But
me when the core is struck.
Me when the core struck. But Rasmus is like he's like one of these strikers, right? You know, you talk about people that you pick: Zentaro, Vice, Juliet, Rasmus. Those are like the big four that come to mind of like strikers. You're going to see at least one of them in pretty much every game. So yeah, Bells on Rasmus, and then YAL.
Jakar's
just being there,
used to be.
just being there. You know, YAL. It doesn't really matter what striker YAL is on. He's going to do well. But then YAL on Kai especially. So I feel like the FINII pick maybe. Probably didn't matter quite as much. I'm sure Vaughn would have done just as well with anybody else. So
I think the big thing here that people can take is learn more than just two strikers. Because if your striker's banned that you feel good about, and then there's a bad awakening starting draft for you, then it's kind of rough.
3. So
if you can learn other ones and have 3, you'll be covered for most of the maps, most of the awakenings, and most of the bans that are out there. But Squidd, I want to enjoy some of the sushi, and I also want you all to enjoy the B stream that is still going on. They're only in set 2, so it might be some time on Otten City there for Oregon Trail versus Sleepy Striker. So we're going to be taking a break, and then after that, getting into round 5, and that's what will determine who will make the playoffs. Top 7 this time, based on having 40, now 39 teams due to a team having to DQ. Hopefully they feel better soon. One of their players got sick. And we always hope the best for the teams that can't make it for whatever reason. But as I mentioned, we're taking this break. We'll be back with round 5 of Swiss in just a bit.